So welcome to our August 3rd meeting of the ETAC Planning Subcommittee. Now that we've, I think, overcome our technical difficulties, we can get started on what we're all here for. And basically, we have until 2:45 to do some work here. We're going to talk about the mission and goals statement that was sent out. We're going to go over the tech plan survey questions, any suggested revisions, additions, and deletions, and then talk about which quantitative questions we want to move to beds and what new quantitative questions we might want to add to beds, and then talk about our next steps. So that is our agenda for today, and we have a really tight timeline for the meeting as well as for this whole project, so hopefully we can move forward and start getting this done. So this is the vision statement that was sent out, and this was crafted working with Sarah and Maria. Shannon worked with them to craft the vision statement for the technology plan, and then we also have the goals. So we did send these out, and if you want to take a look at it, did anybody have any comment, question on the vision? You guys crafted it, so you won't have any. Rich, did you have any feedback? Does it make sense? Okay. Let's take a look at the goals. Okay. For some reason that arrow is not working. That's great. These are the goals, and basically we're talking about how they're going to address the expectations of the Board of Regents, which are in the statewide learning technology plan, and there's a link there to that. And this is a list of goals that revolve around what districts will identify within the plan. So, did we want to read through them or have a comment?
I don't think well, the only question I had was about is there any expectation of the regions updating their standards, their statewide learning technology plan? It's slightly outdated, and some of the language that were included in the goals is also slightly outdated. But I know it needs to be directly correlated, so I just didn't know if it was on their horizon anytime soon. And just asked before this meeting.
Not, because we've talked about this.
Yeah.
Not,
I don't remember. Did we talk about when?
There is no.
Oh, there is
no when.
I forget this email. Sorry.
No.
The main
yeah.
referring
to it. And they had the last full group meeting when you were.
Oh, when I was. Yes, I was.
Yeah.
You were out. So right now I don't have any knowledge of their expectations. I know that some of so we have our Regents group, right, our TPPC, and one of their responsibilities is to provide recommendations to the Board of Regents. So if that is something that ETAC thinks should be a priority, there are a couple of people on ETAC who also serve on that council. Amy is one of them. And so that may be a suggestion that could come from one working group to another, to Regent Oderkirk, who is our sitting regent.
I think we should push that forward.
I am open to.
If we could.
Mm-hmm.
It's 8 years old in January. Like
right.
Dog years.
And for technology.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there is a lot that could be done there, but that would be another huge initiative.
It's huge.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, I'm not gonna do that. Not on my watch.
Well, if we're talking tech literacy standards too,
Yeah, right.
that'd
Maybe one thing at a time.
maybe one thing at a time.
Yeah.
But if it's on the horizon, it might make sense. But just that would be something that would need to come from the Board of Regents. So
Yeah.
that would be
That's probably a long process. Is that a long process? So maybe just put a pin in it. And then when things are being prioritized, it could be mentioned.
Absolutely. So yes, right now this is what we have. We are doing our due diligence to make sure the Board of Regents knows that it has a technology plan.
Yeah.
And
reality check.
And that, because there's been some changes,
Yeah.
so that may be a way to prompt for whatever they wish for to happen. But
Yep.
right now, this is what we've got. So
Thank you.
So at this point, we're not going to push that to happen right now, but keep it on the radar, which we've been doing. So, yeah. Okay. So do we have any kind of, other than, acknowledging that some of these goals are dated because of the plan being dated, anything that is an issue for anyone?
So, I think it's in the plan, but it might be worth mentioning here that we're looking for research-based practices, and research and evaluation are missing in these goals. And, sometimes things have to percolate. So, I think that when I was reading plans, that was missing in the plans that were submitted too. The evidence of research-based practices and evidence of research-based evaluation metrics.
Evaluation of the plan or?
No, evaluation
Of
of the practice.
Gotcha, okay.
And the problem we all face is that there's not a lot of research-based practices. For instructional strategies, absolutely, but for the technology pieces, we see a lot about engagement, but actually a concrete improvement in student achievement, I know, is something.
Well, and maybe it could be action research stuff there, right? Maybe action research lowers the bar, not lowers the bar, makes it more doable. I was sort of toying with this when I was playing with the new questions, because I think that it needs to get raised in rigor.
It goes
But
back
you don't
to
want to
how are
make
they
it
going to check to see
unachievable.
what they're doing is actually working.
Right.
Right.
What you're doing, so if you've been doing it for 2 years, how do you know if you've been successful or not?
Right.
So somebody's got something.
You got to get.
How did
Well, how
you
are
know
you-
you were successful with that?
We like with the PL piece. We know which classrooms are doing it, which teachers are in which cohorts. So we had baseline data from iReady and other benchmarks that we've used, but iReady's been basically a consistent measure for ELA and math, beginning of the year, mid-year, end of the year, and then this past year, now that we have people diving into PL, when they really started to dive in, we saw spikes, and those in those classrooms improved greatly. Same thing happening in one of our Regents classrooms in math. Highest results we've ever had. That teacher flipped the classroom and really focused on. So those measurements are like, well, it's not just to improve. It's not just that group of kids. These are the highest results we've ever had in Shrek and Algebra 2.
I think that's sort of where I was going, not so much about academic review research, but
A plan to measure the effectiveness.
Measurement of, right.
Action research doesn't make sense. That's
So where would that fit in then? Which of the goals should we fit that into? And I'm looking for something.
It's almost like this is the first bullet. Because you're saying the visions and goals, and one of those goals really has to be to measure the progress of. Or does it go at the end that you're measuring not just engagement and achievement, you're measuring equitable access.
maybe it doesn't belong in the goals. I just
belongs in a category that encompasses multiple goals. So the question, there's a category of questions that's specific to that
In the survey.
in the survey. So there are questions that are about evaluation and assessment of goals, but that means that you've built into multiple goals evaluation metrics.
So what data would you
Yeah.
be
Does that make sense?
I don't know if it needs to be a separate section. Maybe it needs to be at the end of each section. Because if you're talking equitable
Have an
access, and that's one of your
evaluation
goals,
question
how are you
inside.
going to evaluate the access piece?
Right.
If you're talking engagement, how are you going to evaluate engagement? If you're talking the professional development, how are you
evaluating your infrastructure? How are you evaluating,
So basically, you're saying how you're measuring each of these goals here in the breakout. I would prefer to do it piece by piece, just because it's to put all that together, and knowing how some of my colleagues think will be very difficult to kind of summarize at the end when, one district may be more worried, oh, we got access, we're good. While one's still trying to figure out how to
That makes a lot of
network
sense.
up and running.
So what we're saying is, you think within the survey itself, there should be an evaluation question at the end of each section, some kind of evaluation question.
So the
district
I had a whole section on planning and evaluation when I did it, so I don't know if you're going to look at that, but maybe that's a good place to put a pin in there.
Okay. Before,
Section 6.
can I say before I forget this, and then you were talking about evaluation, have you guys seen the EdTech RTE coach that came out? The U.S. Department of EdTech sent that out. It's the new, the rapid cycle evaluation coach for EdTech products. Have you guys seen that? Did you? I may have sent it. The directors. When I get things from the Fed, I usually send it to the directors, so that may be, so I would have sent it to Dennis. But it's edtechrce.org. Just so you guys know, and I'll make sure that this is on our website if you don't know, but it's for districts looking to evaluate if the EdTech products that they're using are meeting their goals. So this could be a resource. Sorry, I know that that was kind of off topic, but you were talking about evidence-based
And
decision making.
where is this from?
The Fed sent it out. They did it.
Is it their thing?
They did it with Mathematica policy research.
Oh.
So they are looking for districts to pilot. Yeah, it was just released. And I would ask them more about it, but honestly,
They don't have any staff.
yes, they all moved on. The U.S. Department of Educational Technology is down to 4 people.
Really?
Wow.
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 Where were they at before? I had visited there, and it seemed like they had a nice presence in that building.
So this is interesting.
Where did they move on? It was very recent.
That's scary.
Didn't you say a lot of them were fellows?
There were a lot of fellows in their fellowship.
So, did we want to just leave the goals as they are for now? Is that what we're pretty much deciding? Or
Marianne, can you start the video that's up there?
right there?
No.
Oh.
Sure,
Yep,
yeah.
that works.
And welcome to Amy and Elizabeth. So if you want to jump in, we were just reviewing the vision and goals, and I can unmute you if you want. Did you want to share anything, Elizabeth or Amy?
I just hopped on, so I'm just trying to catch up and figure out where you guys are.
Okay.
We're all over the place, really.
Yes, we are. We got a late start because I sent out the link to the August 15th meeting, and so it was kind of hard to enter this one for that link.
So let me ask you a question. Do you think that it's implicit that the technology-enhanced culturally and linguistic responsive learning environments are research-based or based on sound pedagogy? Yeah, I'm going to throw a bunch of words out, they're not the right ones, but sound pedagogical, blah, blah, blah.
Mm-hmm.
And the only reason I mention it is because, you know, depending on who, well, you know what I'm going to say here, I think, but depending on who's in charge of the initiative, they could have just said, oh, I saw this really cool thing, I want to try it, right? And then they get distracted from the core mission of the district.
Squirrel.
Yes, squirrel.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know if it's important to put some language in here to say that, or is it implied?
I think the guidance needs to build out some of that
Okay.
a little bit more specifically.
Okay.
Like a lot of times in the guidance, that was very general, what the expectation was for that question. I thought, like in the guidance. We didn't spend as much time on that.
Which question are you talking about?
So in terms of like building out what the expectations are for each goal, then
Right.
you
So if we
could
have a-
say in there,
Right.
yes, that is,
So if we have a section on goals,
In the guidance?
then in the guidance referring to that section, we want to provide some supporting
Language.
that explicitly talks about what we're looking,
The expectations that it's
yeah.
research-based,
Yeah.
data-driven.
right,
you know,
and maybe
that- okay,
provide
right.
examples or
Mhm.
something like
Yeah.
that.
That makes sense.
You're talking about guidance for a specific section of the,
Well, the guidance
Survey?
for the survey in general.
right, okay, for the
you know how we
survey.
had that beginning section, that just
Mhm.
gave like the overview,
Mhm.
that would
In
be
there.
built into there.
Okay.
The vision and goals.
Would be, okay, that vision and goals, and then some expectations around those.
Yeah.
Or
Would
some
be in the
clarification if it's
Okay.
not the
Communication, and that could be
expectation,
where you put the how to write a SMART goal.
but- Yeah.
How do you know, the goals should be SMART goals with a link to how to write a SMART goal. I don't think we can assume that the people filling this out
No.
So,
know how to do that.
No, we spent a lot of time
Yes,
on the school district.
yes, we did too.
Yeah. But they have goals, but they're not
Goals.
They're
They're
not.
not goals.
So where do we envision these
I think it'd be better.
residing? Do we envision the vision and goals residing within the tech plan survey, or just in the guidance, or?
I think it doesn't,
No.
I think it doesn't hurt to put it as many places as you can, because I think people need to refer back to it.
Right. So this is
Okay.
the language that we have. This is approved language. So if we needed to change any of these words, it would have to go through
The approval
Let's do it in
process.
the
the approval. If we could do it through guidance, we could get it
Yep.
out today.
Yep,
If
I'm
we
all
need
for
to
that.
change these words,
I'm not really
Let's
changing the
produce
words of this
something.
one.
Yeah, no, don't want to change any words.
But
We're good.
clarification is different.
yes.
Yes.
Guidance is
Guidance.
So here's the answer,
clarification.
do we need guidance, Mary Ann? Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
We need guidance.
Yeah, we did two things.
we need guidance,
We did
and
two things.
it will, and these will be in the guidance,
They're
they'll
knocking
be,
them out.
and they would be within the template too.
Yes.
Okay,
And this can be when people are working with districts. Well, what does state ed want? This is what state ed wants, right?
Right.
How do we know what they know? How do we know what they need? There's the guidance right
Guidance,
here.
right.
Exactly.
This does not mean that districts are expected to have these as their goals.
these are the NICED goals.
Yes. So districts' instructional technology
Very,
plans,
very good.
survey goals need to align with these priorities, but they are not a copy and paste. I'm just
Aw.
saying that they're going to do that.
Who would do that, Maria?
Like,
Compliance,
the
compliance.
here, yeah, I can see
And if they can't do that, then they're going to
rework.
put at the beginning, we will develop a strategic vision.
Yeah.
That's like my eighth grade students used to answer essay questions.
Mm.
Yes, no, that should be made very clear too. Just like I was talking to my colleague Vicki, and she was explaining to her husband, no, taking me to poker night where somebody made baked ziti is not the same thing as taking me out to dinner for my birthday.
Yes.
Oh, that's good to know. I learned something
new every day.
Okay, I think we got,
I'm gonna start tracking that.
so we're good with vision and goals, all right. Okay, so now we need to look at the survey questions themselves, and we had suggested that people think about what categories we should include and what questions should be included in each of the categories, and sort of hoping that we would take a minimalist approach, not, you know, lots of categories and tons of questions. But so Sarah did send some suggestions, and I shared those with everybody. So how do we want to proceed? Do we want to work from those? Do we want to open up the floor?
Well, let me put in a little disclaimer here,
Yes.
too. I was very focused on trying to keep it to 5 sections. That was kind of the driving focus for me, because we all know that survey was long. It's very hard to do. The other thing I was trying to do, so just to give some context, was having done this so many times, you want, and I think we talked about this last time, if this survey tool can be used either pre or post when a district creates their comprehensive instructional technology plan, that this is helpful to them and as they're building out content and not just a copy and paste, so I now have to do this thing. And that this could capture some of the big components of that plan that then they would write some structure around. And well, anyway, so these were the things that were important to me once we extrapolated out the quantitative data. I don't know how you want to approach it. I took another approach too and just edited the survey, but I thought this was easier to see.
And what did you feel better about? Just editing the survey or kind of?
No, I didn't like editing the survey. I like starting from scratch.
Yeah.
I tried to edit the survey. And
Well,
I just got,
your mind gets stuck in a certain way, and it's
questions, because I don't know what questions in that survey you need. I think that was something that I struggled with. I don't know.
And I struggled because I know which ones were required to be in there. So I had that backwards.
I don't have that.
Backwards. So it was just different, because my thing then was looking at this from I ended up looking at it from a numerical versus written. If that makes sense. So your responses are narrative, the short answer. Then any other numerical questions you kind of go into bed. That was where I ended up as far as thinking about how to frame it. But are there specific ones that you need?
I can tell you the things that senior leadership and the board are looking for. They are very concerned with equity. They are very concerned with how technology is being utilized to improve education for our students who are most in need. So we are looking for at-risk students, our students who are maybe traditionally underserved, our students in poverty, our students who are English language learners or multilingual learners, our students with disabilities. So those, making sure that students have equitable access to high-quality learning experiences, so our students in our rural districts, making sure that they have access that students in our wealthier suburban districts do, and then as well in our cities. And I know that we have a lot of challenges. But when I get asked, does your survey have information on? Does your survey have information on this? Can you get me this information? Everything else, the numbers, what does broadband look like in districts? Do districts have computers? How are they using their smart schools money? Is something that they use? I don't think that this is the right place for that. But are they ready for computer-based testing? Are they ready for some of these initiatives? So it's really, they're looking for snapshots, but when you dive deeper, it's really, are they using it well? So that probably is a lot of broad information there. But
So one of the things we might want to think about doing, I had a category called Section 5, is adaptive and ETAC for students with special needs, but maybe the broader category is something like equity for all or at risk, or I don't know what it is, and then there's subsections under there, and then one's for students with special needs, one is equity across diverse groups, well, maybe one is specifically around health. I don't know.
Well, weren't some of those questions required for SSBA, and we were going to have to talk to that office?
We do need to talk to them to make sure that if we change anything in our technology plan, that they are okay with that and they're in agreement. They're fairly flexible. What they want to know really is to make sure that what people are using their money for makes sense with their technology plan. That's always been the point of that. So we've been working really closely with them because the last thing they want is to waste taxpayer money on initiatives that have nothing to do with the district's vision and goals or strategic planning.
Right.
So they want to prevent misuse of the funds, and the way that we can show that is through making sure that it aligns to the technology plan. So we will need to communicate with them, but I think if we bring them, these are our changes, I think we'll be okay in making that. But if we can have questions that are along similar lines, I think that will go a long way.
Yeah, I will say that in my experience, the curriculum and instruction question probably had the least well-done response of any of the other questions in the survey. So when they were going to need to use it for smart schools, that's when my conversations with them changed about taking that question seriously. Like they just would put in 2 or 3 sentences that they copied and revised a little bit, and it just didn't make sense in terms of their broader vision and goal statement. I think what, Sarah, you have done here, I'm just looking at it for the first time, but helps to clarify some of that, especially the actions piece, because it makes them tie their instruction specifically to their goals, like their curriculum, their instruction specifically to their goals, or it could.
And I think the other thing about the curriculum question is they just rambled on.
They didn't know how to answer it.
They didn't know how to answer it, so they just either copy and pasted from other literature, or they just rambled, and there was just.
And that itself is telling. It's very interesting that they didn't know how to answer those questions.
Because the people who are doing that survey often aren't the people that would be answering that question. So it's about reaching out to the right resource. But a lot of districts, they just muddled through, I would say. And I mean, that's when we flagged this meeting to work on framing thought processes around. Because they were weak answers.
Well, and you think about like what are you going to do with this survey data, right? When it's all narrative, it's useless, or not useless, but it'll take you a year. Yeah, there's no practical way for you to get information out, which was part of what I was thinking about with this sort of goals and action item table, because you could then look at everybody's goals and chunk them and say, 50% of the goals were on this and 40% were on this, and it's just easier to extrapolate it out and see patterns.
Well, the thing is, if we don't have check boxes or drop downs with the goals section, it's pretty much impossible to combine unless you did it manually to try to.
Right, which is
why we had all the drop downs.
Right.
Because you have to standardize the response in order to compile them.
And they work well, and I actually did think of that because of the problem with the portal of this district.
Yeah.
But looking at what are the key focus areas across the state, like personalized learning, for example. People go to one-to-one and they tie that to curriculum instruction.
Right.
Like, are there key things like that we could put in a drop-down?
Right.
And if there is an other, we can put an other, but it would help to have like a list of 8 or 10 common learning initiatives that are happening statewide.
Right.
Like what categories?
So, and maybe they do the drop down and click the goal category, and then they write the goal as a goal statement. Because they're still not writing goals.
Or maybe the drop down is within that. like the action section that you have here.
What they're actually
The
doing.
category is a curriculum and instruction category.
Right. Right, maybe it gets categorized as infrastructure, devices.
I think, if
Go
I
ahead.
could jump in, can you hear me? So I'm sort of just listening in, and you guys can tell me if I'm like totally off base, because I'm probably the only person on this committee who had nothing to do with the tech plans last time. So I'm just jumping in from outside and looking in. But I really like Sarah's idea of having that goals in the goals, and I could see where, I understand where you're looking at trying to get so it's easily used and turn around and put it together afterwards. But I think even, as Sarah said, if you put it before the goal and said what the main goals were and had topics for the main part of the goal, so if it was infrastructure or if it is hardware, that would give you enough to jump in and categorize it. Does that make sense?
I get, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to do it with both. Maybe we categorize the goals according to infrastructure, curriculum instruction, professional development.
Because the action is going to be different for every district. Any of the actions, depending upon their size and whatever, they're going to have different actions, whereas I think if you had categories for the 3 main goals or however many goals you want, if you had topics or categories for those, that would allow you to easier combine your data and put it together to be used.
Right, so it would go,
So it would be, right.
like where it says goal 1, you
Yeah.
pick the category and then write the goal.
And right, well, and then we would be able to separate out everybody who has a goal related to X, Y, Z and see what are the goals.
Are you talking about section 2 where you have mission, vision, and goals?
No section.
No,
3,
Section 3.
actions and budget. So I'm
I was
not,
thinking actions of 3. I was thinking section 3 is what we were talking about.
I do think that budget might be its own category, though.
I think, well, I was just trying to,
You have
know,
it,
good
right.
luck trying to get it to be 5.
You can't, I know, I get it.
I'm sure you do.
Maybe you put policies and guidelines into budget, like combine, where would you put budget?
Where I would or where other would?
Yeah.
Thanks for making it so simple.
This is not my first time. Both.
So my business official, we want to put that first.
Right.
But it can't be. We got this money, let's spend it. That's, from listening to my colleagues, that's what's happening with Smart School Act, is we have this and we just, well, what's your plan? Why? They're jumping into the what. Hey, we can get this, let's talk the why. I mean, the budget really probably should be last.
So then could you stick it with, I don't know, policies or something.
I think, and not to change topics, but I do think the tech committee members and meeting dates, that could go up with mission, vision, goals, and planning.
Could be. But the one thing I worry
Vision,
about
goals, and how you got there.
Okay,
help you
yeah,
get there.
because it is planning. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, isn't that just a list? If you just listed the committees, the members, and the meeting dates?
Well,
But
so then I went back
I
to
think there needs to be guidance around the tech
committee.
committee.
Yeah,
Agreed.
Because when I first got to where I am currently,
Yes.
and I've seen
Totally
before,
agree.
it's about the stuff. The tech committees want to talk about the stuff. They're not talking about the curriculum instruction piece.
Right.
So it's almost like the curriculum instruction really needs to be at the forefront, because this is why we're here. It's not to get the cool, shiny thing that, you know,
It's not to put interactive whiteboards in all of your classes.
hey, smart boards are great. Now we're going on to the.
What does state ed need? You just want assurance that the technology planning process is stakeholder driven. Is that correct?
We want it to be stakeholder driven. We want to make sure that this process helps districts to ensure that what they are providing for all children of New York is a quality 21st century education. We recognize that the survey was a difficult process for some districts who have never done it before, very easy for other districts, that there was some redundant data collection, and that there are ways that we can improve what we are doing to make it more meaningful for districts. So that is the thing that we are trying to accomplish. This has to happen for regulation, and it should happen, and it's important that it happens. So what we have here needs to make sure that that happens.
So we could put the tech committee piece instead of an appendix of a list of, because you don't care who's on it. You
Not really.
You know that they're stakeholders, which is where I was sort of thinking.
And stakeholders are a best practice, and we should phrase it.
That probably should be in guidance.
It's not a requirement to us who sits on where we don't really need to know.
Right, and last time it wasn't that way.
What do you mean?
We needed to have a community member. There were like 4 or 5 people, and it might have come from the whole Smart School staff.
That's smart.
That was,
Right, but that came out of that, so there was a conversation about.
I think that was Smart School. That wasn't in
It
our
wasn't,
plan.
it was smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one iteration of this, I actually had another table where you list the level of the committee. So, for example, it was district office. Who are the stakeholders represented? You know, district administration, building administrators, community members, Board of Ed, blah, blah, blah. And then you list the focus area, and I actually had it broken out year 1, 2, and 3. I don't know that anyone knows that, but those groups can be very often unfocused.
Yeah.
And then building level tech committee, and who are the stakeholders there. And I didn't know if the regularity of meetings was important to you, or we can just assume that if they have one, they're using them because, I don't know how you can have a plan without using your tech committee. And then just capture some of that smaller data so it doesn't have to be quite so.
And that may be something that would be a part of a comprehensive technology plan.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be required as anything that we would be collecting. And we can provide guidance on there, and we can say, you know, this is, and that's really what I would like to do is say, this is a survey. This is what a comprehensive technology plan looks like. These are the components. We don't care what, you know, if you have this section before this section, or if you do it in this font, you know, that doesn't matter. It's just the key pieces. What are the things you need
So
to
the guidance is about the comprehensive tech plan. The questions that you're asking is the survey. Okay. So.
Okay,
I think I follow. I know in the last one with the monitoring and evaluation section, we can change that obviously, but there was a requirement in there that you evaluate your plan twice a year. So we had lots of school districts who copied in their last 2 technology committee meeting dates. And this wasn't just Morrick. This happened across other RICs. But they copied their 2 of their committee meeting dates in there, and that's when they were going to evaluate their plan. And it ended up being like basically a conversation. So to me, that's not an evaluation of the effectiveness of your plan. That's just a conversation about, okay, this is what we did this year.
Well, that goes back to
And so it goes back, right, so it goes back. So that section is also somewhere I see building out that guidance around what the expectation is.
And it would be very easy if they had the chart similar to what, you know, Sarah put in there, because they can see very quickly, did we meet this goal by this date? What happened? And then using that to.
Which means, and now I could be making this section way too big, Sarah, so just let me know if I need.
Which section are you talking about?
I'm talking about section 2, so mission, vision, goals, and you have planning in there as like the.
I just added planning, so mission, vision, goal, planning.
Right.
Not professional development planning.
No. Technology
planning.
And
then at the end, I just wrote, insert some sort of chart for the technology committee.
Right. Now, just keep in mind some, depending on how these charts are set up, they can't be collated from within the system. There's certain charts that don't work.
Which makes me wonder if we should have like drop downs, say meeting 1, meeting 2, You know what I mean? So you can.
We don't need to,
We don't need to go that.
we don't need to go that.
That's.
But
No,
you know what
that's
could do? We could do, you know, check boxes to say district level committee meeting and check boxes for the stakeholders that are there. And building level, tech committee, yes or no, and then stakeholders.
You don't even need
We
that.
don't need that.
You
don't
don't need that. It's just district level, right?
We don't
You don't need to collect anything
we
about
don't
the
need
tech
to
committee.
collect anything
No.
about the tech.
Okay, let's
No.
leave it out, and
No,
we'll
we
put it in the guidance
No, I
of the
put it
best
in guidance.
practice.
Yeah.
Put it in guidance.
Okay.
Some best
Best
practice
practice
around that.
for comprehensive,
Guidance.
for
Yeah.
comprehensive
Oh,
technology
good.
planning.
That shortens it.
What the tech committee
So the
should
tech
be.
survey could technically be completed by one person.
If they have, what I would, if it is going to be completed by one person, I would like to have this section, make sure you get input from these people.
Well, I'm thinking if it's not in there, that's gonna be what happens. It's hard. I can think of 3 districts right off the top of my head. Who
And
would,
maybe that's okay.
and
Who?
if that's okay, then that's
Would do
fine.
what?
As long as you don't need that.
Well, because the survey's not the accountability to the regulation, the plan, and that's why I think that has to be articulated
The
like in
guidance.
bold.
Right, the survey is,
Because the survey's just evidence that the plan exists.
Now, what I would like to do, and throw this out there, is to collect, it's my idea, again, small amount of questions. What is, please link here to your comprehensive technology plan and provide us a website.
To the plan?
To the
I
comprehensive
wish we
plan.
had done that last time.
Me too. On your, but here's the thing,
But they
is that if.
So a lot of
some
people
are gonna
didn't
a-
have comprehensive.
some of them didn't even.
But
right.
now they should.
But
But
they
now
were
it's an
supposed
opportunity.
to, so they just didn't understand that.
They-
So they chose not.
And the official language is that the survey was the format prescribed by the commissioner, so they were within regulation as long as they had an approved survey.
Right,
So they didn't technically need to have
a
a
comprehensive plan, right.
even though it is important to have.
So
Yeah, we
is
never
it now,
required that.
Or is it still the same?
So that is, so here's the issue. If we were to do that, then anybody who's evaluating it, can they see us if you're logged out?
Oh, geez.
Anybody who is evaluating a plan.
I could still see you.
Okay, great. Anybody who is evaluating a plan will now not have a standardized format to review plans. So for some of our colleagues in RICs with a small amount of districts, this is not necessarily a huge concern. If we think about our colleagues at Winnie, Rick, or NARIC especially with 129 they have to do. So do we need standardized, these are the things that the RICs are looking for?
I thought that was what was going to be in the portal. What they were going to need to review is what's in the portal, right?
That's what I thought.
So a comprehensive tech plan outside of that, technically the RIC doesn't have to review the comprehensive tech plan.
Right.
So they could do it any way they want.
They could.
So
two different.
So the
paths.
governor's language still is the current.
Commissioner's regulation.
Commissioner.
It's the
Is
commissioner's
that
regulation,
this survey?
91.2. The commissioner's regulation says that districts are required to have an approved tech plan in the format prescribed by
For
the
the commissioner.
And
So the
this is the
format-
format.
The format prescribed by the commissioner currently is our survey.
Yeah.
Right.
So whatever is in the survey is what needs to be approved.
And meets
So-
regulation.
So the pieces in the survey need to be the key pieces.
Right, okay.
And then there are other pieces that probably are very locally driven that we should provide in guidance.
Mm-hmm.
And these are pieces that, you know, they could, but it may or,
I follow.
you
I
follow?
got it.
I got it.
totally got it.
I waffle back and
I
forth.
got it, but I'm glad you clarified that.
Yeah,
Because I didn't know that this could be the plan.
This is
That this is the plan.
This is the plan, right now, this is the plan. I had thought, do we even need questions? Could we just have districts link their comprehensive technology plan and the survey, have the superintendent check a box and be done with it? But if that's the case, then,
Not if we have to review them.
and I also.
and that,
There's no way to review.
and that makes
Yeah.
a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So it can be very.
We used to review them that way.
Mhm.
Right, I
Remember that?
Yeah. That was like,
I actually just shredded all those file cabinets because it was more than 7 years ago. I was like, oh my God.
yeah, that was,
So plans that we used to
that's
review
why
because
I
they
think
did.
there needs to be questions.
Well, we actually just checked that they were there and they had all the pieces.
Mhm.
They come in binders this big.
Yeah, it's
Mhm.
ridiculous. One has 120 pages long. One that's right.
Anyway, so I don't want to go back there.
So I do
No.
think that
So
having
we all
questions,
love binders, just so you know.
Do you
what
like
binders
binders?
are meeting.
I love binders.
Skinny
Big,
plan.
fat.
Skinny plan.
Amy
Yeah.
loves binders.
Amy loves binders, yeah. So that's why I
Yeah.
think questions in the.
I have a shelf of binders sitting right over here I'm looking at when you said that.
Otherwise,
They will
they're not going to do it.
plan.
No, you're 100% right. So we're back to, I don't know if we can do this in 5 sections, given what you
Okay.
just said.
All right.
And the problem with making these topics have so many topics in them, the sections have so many topics in them, it might water it down. So I don't know.
Well,
I don't think it'll water it down because
Then I'm back to putting the tech committee back in it.
that's where I am. I think mission, vision, goals, planning, and evaluation.
And I think it could be as simple as a checkbox to say, do you have a district technology plan yet, or committee, yes or no? Click the stakeholders represented, because that's where I find a lot of discrepancy.
I would second.
They don't include the community and they don't include the parents because it's time consuming and the time of day is problematic.
Now,
Would be good information for you to have.
it is
Sorry.
not anything that we need.
Okay.
That is not anything that is required by regulation.
But is that something that, if
From
you're
our-
helping
But we
planning,
want them, but,
the record both?
so you're not going to meet your goals if you don't have a stakeholder inclusive written buy-in plan.
If a district sees that as a question and they see checkboxes, they are going to assume state ed is requiring them
right.
Exactly right.
to have one of these in each. And these are recommended practices.
We could leave it open.
Could put it in a
Do you have a
guidance.
tech plan, yes or no? Do you have a tech committee, yes or no? And then please describe. That way it leaves it, everyone's going to do it probably a little bit
Please
differently.
describe, please include stakeholders and number of meetings held per year.
So you asked it in the last one, but you're not asking in this one.
No, we didn't. We didn't.
No,
We didn't?
Yes,
No.
you did.
Where?
no, not in.
We didn't ask details on the tech committee.
Yeah, it's there somewhere, because I had this huge conversation, I thought.
We said number 3 was please provide, under B, please summarize the planning process used to develop the instructional technology plan. Please include the stakeholder groups participating
And then NICE had
and
recommended.
the outcomes of the instructional
Way
technology
of
and
asking
development.
questions.
That's the
That was
question.
the question.
So
That-
that's
that was
the
taken out of
question
the-
everybody sees as a tech committee.
That's what everybody thought that was.
Yeah.
I think that's where I was going
All
with
right.
that.
Do we need to do
So if
that?
you don't need that, so you need the planning process? Because the planning process, I would say universally, is some form of a committee. Well, I don't even know if I should say this. I don't think too many people write the plan in isolation anymore.
And they finally have a committee
Right,
as a result.
right.
Like we had a lot of districts who, because of a lack of the requirement, didn't bring together their tech committees
Yeah,
for
I
5
have
years.
to say, it really did help us highlight the need for stakeholder-driven planning.
Right. Some
So
went
you might not
overboard and had building
needed
level.
it, but it was very effective having it in there.
I think the question was fine, but we didn't need a list of all the members or anything.
So maybe
like that.
keeping it generic, like summarize the planning process, is
Maybe that
fine.
question is fine.
Okay. But I know you don't need it. I'll take responsibility for that question.
Yeah, I have lots of evidence
I
on
do,
how
and
effective it was.
that works.
That was one of the questions that I
It was one of the questions I liked
That
because
worked.
it made them
We
actually
had really
present
good
it and
conversation.
stay
We had really
Yeah,
good conversation
it's-
about the challenges and why they couldn't do it and why they didn't do it and
And
all
in
that.
the guidance, it says, it did say something about meetings 3 times. It said something about that.
Yeah, 3 times a year. There was a whole.
Yeah, guidance. This section is necessary in part to document stakeholder involvement in development plan. It's recommended the district hold a minimum of 3 stakeholder meetings. Stakeholders provide valuable insights in the process of involving stakeholders, yada, yada, yada. And then there's a little bit of piece below about SMART schools and who's required to be part of the SMART schools plan.
So here's the piece that didn't work. It was the 3 meetings a year that broke down because people would roll their eyes and say, because they thought it was a requirement.
We were carefully worded that.
Yeah, if it's not a requirement.
As a recommendation.
I don't know.
If we pull
They
out
need
the
to,
3.
maybe you just write regularly or, on some sort of schedule or something that makes it seem that they're going to meet more than once.
We can just strike that sentence.
And, but not quantify it if it's not a requirement. Because
What do you think?
I'm fine with it.
I'm revising this as we go.
Oh, you're revising my
Revising
document?
your document.
Oh, okay, good. Well, I don't do it.
Rich, will that work? Or is it
It makes sense to me.
Okay.
Amy, what did you think of that?
That makes sense to me.
And Liz, are you
Liz
on
the
Zoom?
call?
I'm here. I'm just listening. I'm taking it all in. I'm with Amy. I was not involved in the tech plan process last year, so I'm a silent observer. But certainly, I think it's important to identify the stakeholders that are involved. So I was almost wondering if you're trying to collect data on who's involved, like if that's a checkbox as well. Like how, check the groups that were involved in the process or how many from each group were involved in the process. I don't know if that's valuable information or if that's data you're trying to collect.
I wouldn't say so.
I don't think that we need that level of
Okay.
data. I think that really, if we can just focus on just keeping the questions that help districts make good decisions,
Mm-hmm.
that's the important piece here.
Okay, sure.
Because you're revising Sarah's document, where are you putting that question about the?
We're putting it in section 2 under mission, vision, goals, and plans. We might need to rename that section so it doesn't look quite so long. But I would also propose that we combine the overall evaluation of the plan into this section. So they're thinking about outcomes when they're doing their planning.
That's what we mentioned that earlier, right, to have an evaluation at the end of each section.
We have an evaluation built into each section, but I'm talking, this is about evaluating the plan holistically. Sarah, what do you think?
Well, that's interesting because we don't have objectives and outcomes anywhere. So.
If I look at, we have planning and evaluation. How will the goals be measured and evaluated during and after implementation? Like this is included in here. The monitoring and evaluation question from the actual tech survey is about, please describe the proposed strategies the district will use to evaluate at least twice a year whether the district tech plan is meeting the vision and goals and making a positive impact on student learning. To me, that question goes at the beginning when you're thinking about what you want.
So you could chunk everything together so that it's a package. So for every goal, not the category, the goal, the action items, and the evaluation, so that you've got these so everything's together. So you look at the goal and you know all about the planning of it, you know the category, you know what it is, you know what the action steps are, you know what the outcome's going to be, and you know how you're going to evaluate
So
it.
you know what we're putting together at the beginning? We're putting together the executive summary. Section 2 is the executive summary. And then you break each section down by your goals.
Category, goal, planning, action, evaluation.
Yeah.
Outcome. I wrote down category,
Well,
goal,
outcome,
plan,
evaluation.
action, steps, outcome, and
I
evaluation.
think the goal will have the outcome in it.
Yeah.
It should, if it's
If
measurable.
it's a SMART goal, it will have it.
Okay.
So, talk to me about this executive summary narrative.
I think executive summary is mission, vision, the goals that you have in each with each goal that you have broken down into the category plan evaluation.
So usually an executive summary and a tech plan is a narrative at the beginning about the overall plan. Well, then I think you should call it something different.
Okay.
I think it has a connotation. Strategic plan, executive summary does the same thing. It's a
long.
narrative
Realize
that summarizes what's in the plan. So I don't think that's what we're looking for.
I'm trying to think about what to call that section if we do the goals the way we're talking.
You could just call it strategic planning. Strategic tech planning, because those are all
Sure,
the things
that
that you would put in your
section, yeah.
strategic plan. We're not working on a shared document.
I was just thinking about doing that. I know we can't do Google Drive, but you didn't hear me say that.
No, you can say it out loud. I wish we could do
Yeah.
Google Drive.
I have an Office 365. Is that allowed? You do? You do? Can you share with outside people? I can. Anyway, well, at any rate, so,
You know, if
so we're
you
taking
guys,
notes.
you know what, if
You guys can
you guys
collaborate.
can go ahead and do it.
Yeah.
If you would like to, the three of you can open it
Well, that
up
was quick, like,
and share.
Hey, yes.
And then we'll make sure you have a copy.
You can share with Amy and Liz so they can see, and then somebody can fax it to us.
We'll have it overnight.
I'll send you the link.
The carrier pigeon.
Yeah. But you know,
Hey, we got a video conferencing unit. Look.
I know, don't think I didn't look at that. You know, if we shared it with Amy, and then
Oh, yeah.
and then Amy could put it on the WebEx, and then we could all look at it. Or,
Actually, if I just came over, I could hop on the WebEx and share my screen.
could you? I think you can get it on. That's probably better. Why don't? Can you hop on? Can you just share your screen on the WebEx? That's probably easier. And then everyone can see it.
You want me to assign you the privilege, then you can be a
As
presenter?
I have to, you can.
All right. Well, it's good to have a sense of humor about all of this. I must say, Maria, this is reminding me of our meetings.
I'm having deja vu.
And to,
I get a lot more quiet at those meetings, but yeah.
really?
Shocking, huh?
well, there was some other people there.
A lot of personality group.
There were
Yeah.
Yeah, same thing happens when you're on a table superintendent. Personality standard.
Take over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes you wear the quiet one.
I tend to learn a lot when I'm listening. And then I go back later to decide and it was especially the table of superintendents.
Yeah, we're all done.
Yeah. Nobody has a voice at that table.
How long have you been a superintendent?
This is year number 8.
Like it?
I do. It's just different at times. You know, there's the ebb and flow of challenges that occur.
Mm-hmm.
What was your role before that? ASI?
Middle school principal,
Uh-huh.
and then I was a high school principal for a year.
Ah.
Like, hey, can you fix my high school? Yeah, sure.
Give me a year.
During all that, and then,
Wow.
never aspired to be a administrator. Wanted to just teach biology and chemistry
Really?
and coach. And the athletic director thing opened up at a school I was teaching at, and they had so many years, including some local townspeople. And oh, sure, I'll do that. 9, 10 years. Why not?
Now you're changing the world.
Geez, we try. Hopefully,
Amazing.
reach more kids.
Good things going on.
Yeah, you really do.
We do.
You really do.
Even those things that are interesting.
Are you in? No?
44% in.
No, 44%. Okay.
Not on the in crowd yet.
It's not moving either.
It's not moving either.
Oh, there it is.
Oh, there it is. Woohoo! doing that, I'm just going to go in here and share this with you guys.
Well, this is letting me assign it to everyone. I don't want that.
I think if you do it from the participant list, Marianne, and you pick Maria, is that, oh, Maria, are you showing up as being in there?
Not yet.
Not yet.
If I get rid of those videos, then I can see the participants.
48%.
That's something I don't know how to do, to get the list of participants when we have all these videos.
I know. Yeah.
When I did WebEx, I always used to just have the list. I didn't have the video.
It is. Can you right-click her video, maybe, and do share now?
Assign
Change
privilege.
role, go up.
Oh, change role to.
Hang on 1 second.
Presenter.
1 second. I might be able to share it without you doing that.
Well,
There it is.
how did you do that?
Oh,
Hack in action.
magic.
The hacker.
No, there's a little, apparently the share screen button shows up
For everybody. Oh,
already. Yeah.
okay.
So there it is. Now if I go back and forth, ooh, yeah.
Can everybody else see that? Can you see Maria?
Yes, I can.
Yep, I can see it.
Look at that, using technology.
I'm going to do a tech conference and Wi-Fi doesn't work.
Because there's too many people access.
We got 3 devices.
Oh, that works.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you. That's better. Can't see it. I got a dirty glass.
Better? Yes. Okay.
So as you're writing that, just for the LEA information, I think that since we already have all of that, we probably don't need to go back into filling that out.
Okay. I wasn't sure if that was needed,
Yeah.
The
so.
only thing that is helpful there is who's responsible for the plan. For the RIC, that's the person that finally we narrowed down one contact in the school district.
Then it'll stand.
That was my only thought.
Well,
But
so what we don't need is the enrollment
don't need
piece,
enrollment,
right?
no.
Because that's all, you've got that.
Yeah.
So the name of the district,
Name of the district.
the administrator entering the data.
it's the same person. And then the title, right? Do you still need title?
I would like the title.
That helps.
Of the person who entered the data.
I found it
Who they are. I
helpful.
found it helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, to have any clue or not.
Which,
Superintendent, will be,
How do you know who to go back to when you're
Yeah.
reviewing
No,
them?
that
and-
Oh, that's
yeah.
why, yeah.
That makes
You're
sense.
reviewing it, you gotta go back to,
But yeah, we don't need to.
we don't need.
We can match it with enrollment. John can match it with enrollment.
The only reason I think we had it in there was for people reviewing plans, they could easily look back to that information and say, well, does this investment plan make sense
I
for a
agree.
district this size?
Yeah.
So if you don't have it in there, then you have to go somewhere else to find it as opposed to just going back to page 1. So that was the reason it was in there, was to make the review easier when you need to reference that as an indicator of what else should be in the plan. So like Edinburgh, my district has 60 kids, so obviously their plan would look a lot different than a district that had 60,000 or 6,000 or even 600.
Maybe.
Edinburgh, huh?
Edinburgh,
I
yeah.
don't get well.
I think the quantitative data would be different. I'm not sure the qualitative data would be any different. That's where I think that's the equity.
Right, the qualitative wouldn't be different. The
quantitative is different, and we're moving all that over to
beds. Right, good
I
point.
mean, it shouldn't be. Best practice is best practice.
Well,
Right.
and maybe this will
We don't-
reinforce
well.
it, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
If you have 60 or 60,000, good sound instructional practices is the key here. So section 2 is now
Strategic planning.
Strategic technology planning, I like that word.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, I wish we could.
Exploration, I like that.
Is it in there?
Oh, you didn't have it send me a notice?
Yeah, I did.
No, I haven't gotten mail since 106. I think we're still
What
thinking.
programs do this? What we're trying.
What's that?
I use
What
Google a lot.
programs do?
Like you enter in a
Oh,
goal, and then you do the actions, and then it spits you out a video. Like, somebody, is there someone?
Hey, Maria,
Yes.
will you send that to Amy or astaff@cinework.org?
I'd love to.
I noticed you had it on my other one.
yeah, I noticed that too, so I will,
I don't know.
Maybe a good point.
Thank you.
Are you sending them the document so they can work on it at the same time? Oh.
all right, so let's talk about, let's keep going in section 2 with strategic tech planning. We had started talking about the planning process, we had started talking about evaluation, and then we started talking about the action goal section, right?
So one, yes. I'm sorry.
So are you moving on to section 3? Is that what you're
Sorry.
Technical.
So the action plan should be about the goals, the category it fits in, the plan to accomplish the goal, and evaluation. of the
Right,
goal, right?
so one idea was to chunk everything we need to not only articulate the goal, each goal is like a set in of itself. The goal, the action items, and the evaluation, and that we chunk it that way, as opposed to listing them in a linear fashion, goal, action items, evaluation.
In section 2, you mean?
Yeah.
Leave that in section 2.
What are we talking about?
Yeah, no, we've moved on to section 3.
Well,
Strategic tech planning would be about mission, vision, goals, planning process, evaluation process, and then you go into the action plan for each of the goals. Right?
So what I'm suggesting, and I don't know if it works. I mean, it would work for me if I was actually doing this. I don't know if it works for the survey. You don't have whiteboard markers.
We do actually have that.
So, Amy, I know you're not going to be able to see this, but I'll take
Fine.
a picture
We have
and
the
send it
video.
to you.
Is there a video of that? Maybe. the time.
So the,
Where is our video?
so the way we have it right now, it's like section whatever, goals, and then section, these are not the right numbers. I'm summarizing. What I'm suggesting is that in whatever section it is, that you do a goal.
So you have that in the table in here. You have action by when, stakeholder and resource.
That's the way it is?
There's our video.
So we did, the only thing not in here would be evaluation.
Is that the only place to have it that they're writing the goals? Yeah. Oh, no, they're articulating the goals above and then they're reiterating them here, so they're tied
Correct.
to the action. I get it.
Yes.
I get it.
So
And
they're
you think they need to be in both places, yes?
I do.
Yeah, okay.
I think
Okay.
yeah. They're restating, so now they get into the meat of how they're going to accomplish
Got
that
it.
goal.
So is that the format?
Yes.
Okay.
And where it says action, we're going to use this table?
We could use a table, or we could use, like we talked about,
The check drop down
Which would be easier for us.
would be a
The
drop
data.
down, okay. And then we just need to add,
So category and evaluation, right?
yeah. So category, goal, category, and then the goal explained, and then,
So the goal that you had in here, so I'm gonna,
well, it's not
right, but when we talked about categories,
Wouldn't they align to the goals?
Oh, the categories I wrote. So the goal, I put infrastructure, devices, professional development.
Echo access. Wouldn't you want to just take the categories right out of the goals that are listed at the SED goals?
Yeah, I was wondering where you're getting it.
Because that way we know they're grounding them within the SED
within the
goals.
SED goal.
Oh, that's smart.
And then you can see, then you guys can pull that data and
Then
see
you can
which
pull
ones
that.
are people focusing on.
It'll be aligned. That's their superintendent.
Oh, that was very
The
superintendent.
science nerd in me. Sorry, I'm a chemistry guy.
That was a good
Oh, my
idea.
goodness.
Good
I got
idea.
goosebumps there. That was, yes, yes. So maybe we
Dan
need
contributed
5.
today. Woohoo! All right.
So maybe we need 5, or do we need 3?
So 5 goals is a lot for
It is
anybody to
a-
But
have.
3 goals, but if you have, so they can choose which of the 5 SED goals they're aligned to.
Mm-hmm.
They'll
Maybe
find the more
couple their
than
goals.
one.
And maybe we'll have a goal.
They might have 2 that go with one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So we need to allow for that, multi-check.
Mm-hmm.
They can just use the drop down.
So in the that's not gonna be in the table though, right? Maybe the table's not.
We might not be able to do a table.
Yeah,
I don't think the table's
But
gonna
then
work.
pieces of the table need to be for each.
Right, so under goal 1, we have
Mhm.
category.
So why don't we get the skeleton of this thing and then worry about the technical building of it?
Yes.
I'm gonna email you the link.
That would be way, yeah. Yes, yep. Be great. Yes. Okay, there we go.
All right, so category aligns with SED goals. And check more than one. And then for the category, then it has an action, and then it has evaluation.
I don't know, actually, if you want to put the goal of the date of anticipated date of completion and things like that as part of the, that could be a little piece with the date that they want to complete it, so it's not a hard and
With
fast thing.
evaluation, I think, yeah.
Like you have in the chart there, the action by
Yeah,
when.
just
the
throw
date.
the by when kind of in the action
Mhm.
steps. Same thing with the stakeholders. What stakeholders are, whether
Yeah,
the
the
and
action.
I would love to put something in the, and I guess it's about, maybe there's a section in the guidance about stakeholder participation, because if every action is assigned to your director of technology or plan is
So
null and void, right?
Stakeholder responsible.
Yeah,
Who's
responsible
responsible for
stakeholders.
Stakeholders and,
responsible.
and involved.
Yeah,
Yeah.
superintendent,
Which, you know how
or
that
DOT,
goes.
yeah, then there is no plan.
Hey,
So,
I guess,
and we
you
can,
tell, I gotta tell you, you get
and we
some
can
little-
provide some best practice around that.
Mm-hmm.
These are
Links to something.
my number one job is to delegate, so, you know. Do too much.
Well, people love it. The directors of technology love it when you say that to them, and they're like, "Oh yeah, tell me about it." That would be great.
But is that also you put the I see you have resources in that table.
Well-
Access, should that also be or resources are going to be
I think there should be maybe a section,
provided?
if needed, they don't have to fill
Yeah.
it.
Well, so you know, when I did strategic planning, that category said funding
Could be.
or budget.
But I think resources,
So I
people,
just decided not. That was
resources.
just getting a little too.
Now here's something that we could use, is if we could tie that, if this is the SED goal, and if we could have a funding, and if we could say, this is somebody's using smart tools to address these goals, that would be a big point that we could.
So maybe the budget section should have which goal,
Oh, yeah.
SED goal it aligns with.
Yeah.
Because then the other question was, what funding stream are they going to use? We had to have drop downs for that too.
We did, yeah.
Whether it was smart.
We
schools
created
or-
that the second year.
We did, because that got really confusing.
It was, everybody was using different
And it
terminology.
could have been the same exact thing, but it was different terminology,
Yeah.
so it would pull
Yeah.
different data.
this one, you could just say resources necessary.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't mean necessarily the dollar figure. It could be we need, fresh development, blah, 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 blah. And that could be incorporated in the guidance, what kind of, and when you get to the budget side of things, that would be,
That would be a good thing.
The resources could be anything, could be staff.
Mhm.
yeah.
Didn't work.
Be stuff, could be devices, could be.
I got an automatic reply from you.
You did?
I did.
Oh, well, I haven't had an email since 106. Let me turn on the hotspot.
Could be both, it could be the RIC, could be,
Not the Rick.
It's not the Rick.
Wow. It is our way.
Oh, nice.
I'd make 2 rough vocals to you. They were
Mo
fun.
Bosie's and Mo Rick, I can't.
I know. Okay, moving on.
Sorry.
Mobile.
Okay. So we do not need the table, right?
No, it's going to be a drop down of sorts.
Right.
In the evaluation, I would just, how are you going to measure the progress?
Mhm.
Did you keep the category?
What data and what progress?
What-
What data
What-
you're going to use and how the progress can be measured?
Label?
Yeah, right here. Thank you. Don't worry.
There it is. Oh, I did it. I got my own hotspot. Now I'm back.
Right, back in business.
So we're not going to do the table, but we'll
do drop downs or a checkbox or.
it'll still be a table, it'll just look different than that one. When you
We'll,
say,
we'll worry about how it looks in the
Yeah.
system.
Once we get
Once
that.
we- once we
once we have the content,
Yeah.
I was
Let's get
blind, and now I'm not.
So should we leave room for 5 goals? And have just so, because if we do it by goal, 1, goal 2, goal 3, goal 4. Every district, some might have 3, some might have 5.
Let's always say maybe
Well-
minimum of 3. Just like in the classroom. Just
Agreed.
like
Yeah.
some people will be overachievers.
Right.
Yeah.
That's kind of what I was thinking,
Yeah,
what's the
you're right.
minimum? But there are some who will want to do 5.
Oh, there's 5 spots. I got to fill out all 5.
Right.
I'm good with that.
You
I
have to
think
get an
minimum
A+.
of 3, but enough space for 5,
Mm-hmm.
and then no more than 5.
Right.
No more
Yeah,
than
No more than
don't,
five.
additional paper is available.
Well, you could word it to say you're,
Comprehensive text message.
your priority goals or something, so that if somebody has 10 goals, they just put the top
It's
5.
back to administrative school.
They do.
Yes.
They have 10 goals.
If they have 10 goals,
They need to
somebody-
get recertified.
Yeah.
Wait, does that mean that I can only manage 5 projects?
No,
Does that
projects
mean-
aren't
No,
goals.
projects are not
Nice
goals.
try.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
really nice.
Try.
Not so much.
They really broad goals, so they all fit under it.
And that's what we wrote, ladies.
What did you say for evaluation?
Yes,
That's
I thought when you said SMART goals, I'm like, oh yeah, I
What
know
data-
SMART goals.
what data
but
we
this
use-
is SED.
what data will we use in,
SMART goals.
to determine-
I know, you must chuckle in the background.
The whole timely part
Oh, we
just
gotta
made me
take data.
laugh.
I just know it in my bones, I feel it was successful.
The timely part is
Sorry.
writing the goals, not achieving them.
So, do you want to write
Sarcastic.
metrics and data and/or metrics?
Yeah, I think so.
And no,
For the
that's really
evaluation.
Not a good measure.
Kids got it, why? Because they were all paying attention. You know, they went to the happy place. I'm telling you right now.
Yeah.
Because they were all paying attention.
Well, Johnny, he had his eyes closed. Well, he wasn't sleeping, he was paying attention, he was just visualizing them.
You would visualize. My father used to say, I'm checking my eyelids for holes. That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
Then,
Yep.
professional development.
So I pulled professional development out separately.
Hang on a second. No, I did. Yeah, I got
I
it.
got it. Okay.
I'm cutting.
Well, if you did that, why don't you put just take the same format you did before with the goals, and if you had this goal, how is professional development aligned to those goals? You're basically just taking,
Yes, you could do that.
so as you fill in this one goal, bang, it just pops down here, and then you just do the PD for that.
You actually could do that.
Can you say that one more time, because I was in...
With the sound effects, or?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes,
That's
absolutely.
the best part.
That was a big part.
Absolutely, that was the best part.
Cover my brain. So, I mean, if you have the goals from up above, so as soon as you fill out one of those goals, that would just naturally drop into section 4, and now you're going to just put your PD plan for that specific goal. Because what happens with a PD plan, they're very general.
I know.
We're going to bring,
I hammered
because
it
I
on
was
that
one,
section.
I'm sure you did on mine. And
Did I?
all that's up here, I'm like, I got this covered, I'm doing it.
But you're getting it on paper.
Getting it on paper, and then getting other people to see
So
necessarily the vision.
I
sometimes
love
is
attaching the professional development plan to the goal if it applies, right? But if I have a goal to deploy 400 Chromebooks, and the goal is to actually get them turned on and out, not effective use of them, then I don't need professional development for that goal.
But would we even want those kind of goals in the plan? I mean,
That's just a checklist. Like,
yeah, that's just like, yep, the computers are there, but that's not,
if you're trying to get them out, part of what getting them out is going to have to be is training your teachers and staff
and
on how to
integrate them
utilize.
into instruction. That's really should be the goal,
Very good.
not,
Okay, you're a good point. So then you could tie, if these are all instructional goals,
right.
then you could have,
Are these all instructional goals?
Or should they be? I guess that's the question.
well,
Go back to that.
Of the 5 NISA goals, the one about
Infrastructure.
connectivity and infrastructure is not an instructional goal, but it's important. So that one would not necessarily require professional development, but it would be nice to have a place for them to have goals.
Maybe
Yeah.
professional
well, and I
development
think
and
connectivity
training
is
plan.
important, because if
Yeah.
I can't, if I'm not connected, this is all about equity, and I've got a school that's underserved in our community,
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
and it has no connectivity, I can't do
Absolutely.
anything anyway. So
Mhm.
that's going to be a preliminary goal. So I think that I think it's important, but maybe it's, if this is an instructional goal, it's an if-then. If this is a professional, if this goal is linked to, these won't be bullets, they'll be numbers. Except then it looks sound like
Right.
they're in no specific order.
Mhm.
If this goal is linked to, I said goal 1, 2, 3, or 4,
Mhm.
please list your professional development plan.
Mhm.
So
then
going to be
we've added another one.
Because it all links to number 5, which is provide access to relevant and rigorous professional development.
Right.
So it's going to be set up like the goals in section 3.
We're thinking about it. Now, let me just talk about why I separated it, because I'm very hung up on this, the PDP being not attached to this.
Mm-hmm.
And what I see in the districts I work in, and I said this last time, there's no conversation in the district between the people that are writing the PDP and the people that are implementing the technology plan. So I was trying to force that conversation by suggesting that the professional development plan for your instructional technology plan is a subset of your PDP.
Yes.
Oh. Yeah.
Because that's what, that's what we had. They're worried about the stuff. We can't do this because we don't have this. Like, okay, the technology committee really should be basically a PD committee.
Right.
It's like, well, we want to be able to do, we want the kids to be able to learn this way and have access to this. So what do we need to provide that? Not the stuff, but what do we need to help you all provide the support? So you're right on. That's exactly what it's become. It's become check off. We got the stuff. Okay, now what? That's why I have Frank.
So where are we at with this right now then?
So I think that in section 4, the blah, blah, blah at the beginning could be in the guidance, right? Professional development support should be job embedded, collaboratively developed. Pick that up from, the nice professional development rubric is where I pulled that out of, by the way. Nice tie-in, Sarah, right?
Nice tie-in, Sarah.
Stumbled in that thing.
Yeah.
Where'd that thing come from? Have you ever seen that? Marie?
I have.
It's a
I heard that they're redoing parts of it.
It's a pretty nice document.
It is a nice document.
I
saw it.
Seen it before. I forgot.
I saw it at Customer Bosie's staff curriculum. Yeah.
Which document are you talking about?
It was really good.
Professional development rubric.
From NICEAD?
It's linked in this document that I shared in section 4. And that's where that language came from, that professional development should be collaboratively developed, job embedded, focused on student. I just sort of sucked all that out of there. So that could go in there.
Teacher quality? I'm guessing it's teacher quality.
Does this like work?
It does, sort of.
Yeah, not really. Because I had to, I couldn't, the STATEC website doesn't always load unless you go to an internal link first.
Well, yes.
Why is that? Do you know what that is? Well, anyway, so I had an option to pull the cached version, and that's what you're seeing, because I couldn't get it to come up. So I don't have any idea how I did that. It's I don't know where, this is the HTML, CIAI. Who's that?
Yeah, that's what I was looking
Curriculum
at.
and instructions.
Yeah, it's their document. A framework for professional development. Highly qualified teachers at the center of education reform movement, setting high standards for its student population.
So you know where this came from? My friends at BOCES, from the teacher center.
Yeah.
Oh, that is.
I just pulled out.
Pull off the last couple
Pulled out the last part and the first part with the Google Web Cache.
Oh, got it.
Copy this link in a sec.
Got it. Yeah, fix that. Thank you. This came from the Teacher Center. Dan? Nobody seen it?
Probably.
Well. So. They should.
Since this was so long ago,
Well, it doesn't matter. There's some, so there's some good pieces in here to pluck out of. I found this actually good enough to send to my coaches.
So are we?
So back to
how are we?
Good, Marianne. Good for you. Get us back on task.
Yeah.
So anyway, that verbiage can go in the guidance. Yes.
Yes.
What's going in the guidance?
The summary.
Marianne, I'm marking it all. I'm gonna.
Oh, okay,
I
good.
will, before I leave, export this and send it to you.
All right, thank you.
So do you want to have a professional development attached to the goal and this?
I think, I personally.
Yeah, I think PD attached to individual goals is good.
I think that's good, but then I think that they need to have like
A plan.
A plan.
a plan.
Like a holistic
Yeah,
plan.
the content, the resource.
Links to technology.
Who's actually gonna do it,
Yeah.
and the method it's being done, because there's a huge shift around method of PD delivery.
Yeah.
And,
Topic too, or not?
you know, I'm not as tied to topic because I think that will be connected to the goal,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Wouldn't it be?
Yes, you could actually take the categories out. If you're tying it to the goal, I think you can take that out. So maybe if you have that there, maybe this section is more summary of plan.
So we do need it there.
Maybe.
Do you still want that first question you had, which was please describe the professional development plan for building the capacity of the staff in the attainment of your
Maybe
vision?
that's the only question you need,
And
and
then,
the rest is in the goal.
Yeah,
And it's narrative, so what?
right.
right.
Is it talking to you? Maria's hearing voices are coming out of her computer.
So Amy, you're involved in professional development. What do you think of this
Yeah.
idea? And Liz?
Is she talking? Because I don't hear anything.
No, my mouth was full, sorry. So I was sort of,
And I thought you were getting ready to talk. That's why I didn't.
so you go ahead, Elizabeth, so I can finish chewing what's in my mouth.
I guess maybe that's the beauty of not having the video accessible. I like it. I think the tie from the curriculum, professional development side to the technology side is something that we're always talking about needing to be aligned. So any, support or, subliminal messages that we can send to districts that they should be doing that is always helpful for us.
I agree.
Couldn't you automatically make it fill in as the,
Yeah.
in section 4 or section 3, put here's the goal, and then it automatically fills in the goal down below? Or I don't know.
I'm not laughing at
The survey tool is rather rudimentary.
Okay.
Please don't think I'm laughing at the suggestion.
Please.
I'm laughing at the, gearing up to have these conversations with
IT.
IT.
Hey, guys, the superintendent said.
So,
Is anybody left?
So
From the
Amy and
original.
Liz, I think what you'll notice is if you look at the goals up in section 3, we've added a 4th bullet that says professional development plan, describes the professional development plan in support of this goal. What look like? Are we both in there?
Oh, yeah. So it's going to be up there and not in this next section.
I think that next section is the summary.
The summary plan, PD plan.
But do we want to duplicate?
Or do you want it just to list by goal?
Well, let's act it out. So if I have a goal,
Is how I like with SED.
I have a
You've done my
goal
action
to
steps.
going to provide technology. I'm going to copy and paste this goal that says provide technology enhanced culturally. And so anyway, if I have that goal, then I'm going to be whatever. I'm going to do all these steps, one of those action items will probably be the professional.
Well, that's
But their goals to be one thing, and then which goal does it align to?
Well,
FDD,
so
if the goal they typed in automatically pops down to PD.
Are the action items going to be dropped down?
I don't think so, are they? No, I think that
No.
you would, no.
No, you can't require, so
You can require it.
Require what, the action steps?
professional development.
Oh, professional development.
You can't,
You-
because what if it's infrastructure?
Well, why doesn't it say professional development and training? And/or training? Staff members need to be trained on new infrastructure implementations? I don't know. Or we could put in guidance not applicable.
Or we could put in a, you don't want to give them it.
I was going
So
to
if
say,
I'm deploying 5,000 Chromebooks,
What we might be able to do is, if they select the drop down for the instructional goals, SED's instructional goals, it may require it. Whereas if it's not tied to it,
Yeah,
it
there
won't
you go.
be required.
if you can do that,
We might be able to tunnel it
and then it's
out.
optional, because maybe their tech staff needs to get trained,
Mhm.
maybe their,
Mm-hmm.
that would be cool if you could dynamically link it.
That's a lot.
I know.
yeah.
You say that's ambitious. Who said that?
I know. I'm laughing at myself now for saying that. I decided to. I'm like,
We had to jump through a lot of hoops.
Like, wow,
Yeah.
you can do that?
That's impressive.
More likely, it's going to have to put.
Well, we could just write, if this goal is linked to
Mhm.
goal, SED goal 1, 2, 3, 4, this is required.
Mhm.
So if you can't dynamically link it, we'll just say required.
Should
So
put
then
professional.
somebody's going to create all their goals not linked to 1, 2, 3, 4. There'll be somebody that tries that.
That's when we.
That's the RIC review.
That is,
That's the review.
That is the RIC review process right there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Really? That's all you reply should say is just really.
Look, Rick's gonna do it just to
Seriously?
test the process.
No, I don't want to call Maria and the rest of Heather and Amanda.
What? You like to us.
I do, but I don't. Really? Why would you do that? Let's see.
Should professional development go before
In front of
evaluation?
it, that's what I was wondering.
I think so.
I think it goes after, I think it becomes section 3. Yes? Is that what you're
Are you talking about
Section
section or are you talking about?
Section. Which one?
So we have this here right now in section 3. Should it be section 4 or should it be embedded here?
And then,
Well, I was suggesting both.
Both.
One is the
Specific
specific
Right.
professional development. So if I have a goal that says we're going to focus on collaboration, blah, blah, blah. That's a very discrete professional development.
Yep.
I agree.
You know, workshop, this workshop, that workshop, whatever.
Mhm.
The summary is more about the philosophy of how you're going to address it and how it links to the PDP.
Yeah, I think we need to do that.
So I'm wondering if that needs to go, that section actually has to go as section 3, and then this action planning is 4. Because it's the summary of the plan. Everything above it is around plan. Maybe, you know what? Maybe the
You already got the-
professional development thing is not a section, it's a question.
You already got it within
It's a
section 2,
question.
right?
It's questions.
it's within the goals, right? You're putting.
Your PD's
Maybe
within the
it's
goal.
question 5 and then the evaluation of question 6.
Yeah.
When you say question,
Yeah.
you're talking
Because
about
then it mirrors the.
Yeah.
Oh.
mirrors,
Yeah.
but
Nice.
Do that.
what are you,
So down below in the action planning where they have the goal and
Yeah.
then the SED goal it's linked to, that progression, at the top, the progression is mirrored. So it's the overall plan, the overall,
And then
you know,
it's this question 1.
actions,
Yeah.
the overall
All the
PD
rest.
plan, the
Yeah.
overall what's your evaluation
Yeah.
plan, and then it gets into the specifics. So big
Should
picture,
I say
So,
this,
discrete picture.
blah, blah, blah for the guidance? Oh, you wrote that. You said
Yeah,
it.
I'm gonna save that.
So this section comes out.
Don't delete it yet.
Okay. I'm not going to delete anything here.
So section 4 is coming
I
out.
think these famous last words right here.
Section 4 is coming out as a discrete section.
Yes.
Where will it talk about linking to the PDP and all that, or won't it?
In the
In
guidance.
the guidance.
Mm. Mm.
Okay. Sorry, I'm making people sick. My bad. Okay. So we're mirroring all the way down to students with special needs.
Right. So that was, so Shannon had said equity was an issue and underserved and at-risk students. And are students with disabilities in that category as underserved, at-risk?
Well, it's just our special population, so, our category.
What's the big topic? Is there a big category for that, for those different cohorts of students? So that was,
I would have to know the data language. For that.
Oh,
There
yeah, there
probably is a
probably is
specific term. Rich, do you know? Is there a
It's not a big umbrella, that's the thing.
that all these, if we're reporting out on data, that it would list all of these categories are, you know what, it's gonna bother me, I'll be right back.
okay, they're probably called.
Luckily, IRS is right here. so
They're
we
probably
can-
called something stupid like subgroups,
It might be subgroups, actually.
Yeah.
which.
The
While
subgroups
she's
could be
talking
economic
about
standards,
that,
could be everything.
Section 6,
Mhm.
I put as like the administrative section, which includes like staffing, financial, your budget, policies and
Yeah, I like that.
policies
Great.
and your hardware, software inventory from your bed. So that's the administrative section of the whole plan.
Okay.
But you wouldn't need the hardware software in there because it'll all be in bed.
Well, if the district could attach it, that would actually be helpful for the RIC.
Well, because,
that was
well,
kind
you
of
know,
a-
and then I got into the whole computer-based readiness.
Well, that's, yeah.
So, because the way this hardware, and especially the hardware inventory, we just skipped, we just jumped. We made a leap.
We did.
I can come back to this, but I don't want to lose this thought. It would be really nice if the hardware inventory said, I have these devices in this building, in this location, and then you just put an asterisk if they're being used in that location for CBT. Or are they? Well, because then you could extract out the CBT devices as if you needed to, if anyone wanted to know how many devices do we have for CBT, you can extract it, because not all devices in the district are CBT devices, right? So I was thinking that might be useful on the bed side. And I don't think we can extract data out of beds, right? Subsets, right? We can't report against it.
I don't think so.
No.
I don't think so.
No. So you're going to want it in a format that goes into beds. I don't know what that is, but it would be interesting if you could put it in the format it needs to be for beds. Add a category for check off if it's a CBT.
There is not a name.
And I think, and then you could upload the data minus that column. but then you'd have it for yourself.
We kind of moved past section 4 into section 5.
Well, so are we done with 4?
We're not, I don't think.
Oh,
I mean,
4.
No, we
yeah,
really
no,
don't.
let's
No.
go back to 4. We'll park that idea.
yeah, circle back. All right. So I guess my question in here is, we went round and around and around on this the last time about what information you really need in this section. So the questions about ELL, the questions about special needs students, they just copied and pasted their answer in same answer both places and just changed one word from ELL to special education. Like we saw that, I remember us talking about that at the end. So, right, so what do they really want to know?
They want to
About
know
the exercise.
that, yeah, it's that, but they want to know that the district is making a concerted effort to address the needs of these groups of students. But of course, we know that different districts have different, I mean, students with disabilities needs to be its own separate one, but some districts don't have English language learners, and some districts, you know, have a really high percentage of economically disadvantaged students. Some districts don't. Some districts have a very high percentage of students who, you know, that they're targeting their. So how do we phrase a question? We need one on students with disabilities, but we need a question that says, how will these goals help you to meet the needs of not your target population, but how would we say that?
Are you separating out students with disabilities from L?
I think we need a separate section on students with disabilities.
Yeah.
Like that's pretty specific. But for the other one,
I'm just writing.
Well, there's,
It really deals with students that need additional services,
okay,
require additional services to be successful,
okay,
to ensure their success.
to ensure their success.
Whether it's special ed with ENL or economic disadvantage, I mean, all those subgroups. It could be a regular ed student who is at risk for whatever reason maybe.
Right. And that's where we get into the whole culturally responsive and
Right, linguistically.
yeah. This is a tough one to ask, but it's a necessary one. Just
are there accepted definitions?
So how much information do you want about this?
When it comes to
just wanna
subgroups,
know that
yeah.
they're thinking
like
about it?
market
We want them-
populations, is
we
there a
want-
definition
we
for
want
that?
them
No?
to answer it and not just copy and paste it. So what question can we ask
That kind of forces them.
that forces them to identify the students who, you know, they should,
They
again,
should have already been doing
they should already know.
Should.
Right,
They
Well,
should.
We referenced the
A lot
IEP
of
last
it.
not
time.
gonna lie, it made them go back and look at it,
Right.
Well, it also drew in the special ed director.
and it did.
Yeah.
And they thought
It forced
differently.
and, you know,
Honestly, all the principals should be involved in this because
Right.
what
Right.
they should be doing is targeting, specifically their students who struggle.
Yeah, and I will say that for the most part, it was directors of tech ethics were involved in that. So bringing
was
the
kind of a
principals in,
handoff.
that could be part of the guidance too, is who needs to be involved in this conversation.
Mm-hmm.
It was, in some districts, it was more than,
Mm-hmm.
one.
If your building leader's not leading the way on that, then it's not going to happen.
right.
Right.
It's our future quick plan.
And we had worked with our Office of Special Education
We did, yes.
to develop the question, but I still think that it could have been phrased in a way, because because you're right, when we looked at that question, we didn't see answered what exactly we were looking for.
I expected more in depth
Yes.
in the answer.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if it was the question or if it was just the time people took with it. I don't honestly know. Because that was one thing we consistently talked about, is considering how those students need so much focused attention. We're not really giving them that in this.
Mm-hmm. And this is one of the SMART Tools questions, right?
This is one of the ones that
It is.
linked.
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
They asked.
Yeah.
So maybe we can think about that. And actually, we have special educators on ETAC. Maybe we could
Oh, right.
we could ask them. That's one of the things that we made sure.
And L, too.
And
Yeah.
They don't call them those?
um,
They call them student language other than English? They renamed it.
I thought L's was the new name, English Language Learners.
No, they named it
There's
again.
another one.
Oh, they
There's
did?
a new one again.
There's
You get them.
well, there's even
There's a multi-language.
I thought it was
there's
students
mul-
with-
so there's multi-language learners
Learners.
as well.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that is what.
Yeah.
Oh, they are. Education was that good.
There's multi-language learners, and what else? There's other ones, too.
It's language other than English.
That's low, right? But I thought that L's was,
No, there's
Newer.
actually, it was low, but there's an, I was in Mount Vernon the other day, and
Yeah, there is something.
told me there's something,
I just saw this too.
it's
Come across.
From
new and
Harvard?
nobody uses it, and
Yeah.
it's,
is it from NICET?
What we have been
It
using
is,
is
because
ELL
it is
slash
some-
MLL. So ELL slash
okay,
MLL.
all right, well, if that's what you're using, then that's what I'm using.
Is what I have seen. That's what. But we can check with Lisa.
I think it might have gone to ENL, which is English as a New Language, rather than ELL.
That's what it is.
That's the one.
That's what it is.
Yep, that's
Thank
what it
you.
You're welcome.
ENL slash MLL.
Who could keep up?
I know.
Yeah.
So yeah, ENL slash MLL is what we will make sure. Well, let's. I think we can come back to this section after we get some input from maybe some of our.
And we have a little over a half hour left before we have to exit this room. Yes.
Okay, so we're gonna come back to that.
Let's come back to that,
We've
yep.
captured something
Yes.
that you can use to
Yes.
put in front of somebody else.
Yes.
Okay. That's the action item there. Okay.
Our takeaway.
Yep. Okay, administrative management plan.
So in this section, I was telling them while you stepped out, I pulled in staffing,
Mm-hmm.
policies, and financials to this section,
Okay.
and just retitled it, but it doesn't have to stay. You don't have to keep all of them, you
Mhm.
know, really however you want to do it. And then we also were starting to talk about the hardware, software inventory,
Mm-hmm.
and the connection to, and then some of the stuff about beds. But before we get into the bed stuff,
Mhm.
we were headed in that direction.
We were headed in that direction, but let's finish this.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
do we need in section 5? So
What do you need to
do you
collect?
need to know? Definitely the financial plan, which
Mhm.
makes sense. And I thought the second time around, we had that table in much better,
Yeah, this is, I grabbed this from somewhere else.
Oh,
You can
okay.
take this out.
okay,
I was,
let me pull out the one that we had. The investment plan.
do you want to copy and paste that in here and then we'll work with that? This
So Mary Ann, I'm going to pull the one we have in there right now in here.
Yeah, that we worked really hard on
Yeah,
trying to
to
get it
replace
to
that.
standardize the responses.
How did it work with pulling the data out? Was it easy?
I don't know how I got it. Somebody sent it to me in Excel,
Okay.
right? So then from the Excel, it was easy to manipulate and everything. But I don't know how they got it.
Yeah, the IT, they pulled everything out of there.
So
Put it into Excel.
So when you got
Let me
it,
get
it was
this
in a
back.
format you
Let's
could
get
use,
this
like
back.
when I asked you for the top 3 things that people were
Right.
buying.
Yeah, that was
Oh.
easy to do in Excel.
Great, all right, so we can keep the format of that. And now we know what to ask for.
Yeah.
Okay.
What?
All right.
When I ask for the tech plan data, now we know what to ask for. Oh my goodness.
So, I struggled with whether staffing needed to be here or in beds because part of the conversation was very helpful when we forced them to look at IT staff versus professional development staff. That conversation was really good because it did make them internalize the thinking a little bit. Do you need it?
No. But we need them to think about it if it's important. So.
It is important.
I think it was also tied to CBT readiness too, if they didn't have enough staff
And
to do the technical
dare I
support
say
and all that.
anything about the new codes of regulation and managed IT? So, I mean, if we're tying things together, I don't know if it matters.
We have.
Maybe complicates things.
You could put that in guidance for their comprehensive plan.
I think it complicates.
I think it complicates it too.
Yeah.
It's complicated.
The staffing question,
No.
No.
the closer question.
Yeah.
And remember, we have, our big 5 colleagues.
Right.
That this applies to as
Right,
well.
right.
So,
Yes.
we have to.
Let's put a staffing question in the professional development area. Like, what are we looking for here? Because you want to make sure there's adequate IT staff.
Would that be under the resources section?
I mean, the last time, it could be under resources, but that aligns specifically to the goal. This is more general. So goals could be, or that, if you had staffing there, it could be what staffing is it going to take to get this implemented?
The goal.
The goal.
Right. That could be under goal. But this is, who do you have as full-time staff to support everything all the time?
That's the management section.
That's, yeah. I mean, that's how I see that, but it doesn't have to. I know we went back and forth on how to do this. If it's a point 2 and point 4, and how do you say it, and if there was a lot of questions.
Yeah.
But I think we finally got it down last year.
No, it works really well.
And it
Last
worked.
year it
did work.
So in a way, I kind of
It
think
did
we should
work.
keep that
Maybe we
question
should just keep that
because
question.
people finally got used to how to do it.
Well, and they know that that's the way it should be staffed.
Right.
They know they got the whole 0.4, 0.6.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I think we could leave it.
We had it in 2 places.
We did, and I don't think we needed.
We had IT and we had tech integration, wasn't it?
Primary responsibility is delivering technology integration and support for teachers,
Right.
as well as technical support. Like, I think that should be one.
Put it all in
section.
one.
Right.
And then you have one table, and you have, might even do drop-downs for that one. We have technical support, because there are so many titles attached to that. Technical support or instructional technology, they select one and how much time. If that could be the other thing.
So it's one question with drop down so that it's separated out.
It was a little
Easier.
clunky that it was in 2 different places
Yeah.
because you had to keep going back and
Yeah.
forth and saying, what did I say? Because many people, it's usually one person split in 2.
Yeah.
And they say, what did we say in that other section? And you have to scroll back and look at it and then go back. And if it was in one place, it would be more cohesive.
Right.
So it did help people realize that they might need more staff, or they might need
I'm not sure that
to
it
recruit
got
more
that
staff.
far. I think it helped them realize how they're using the staff they have.
Okay.
And that some people do have dual roles. And actually down to the percentage. That's what I loved was the percentage of the FTE.
Yep.
Because we'd work with them and we'd say, so
What percentage
where
of
do you
time?
fit in this table?
Mhm.
Director of technology person.
Yeah.
And they were and they really thought about it a lot. And then we'd say, well, what about this person? Is their role primarily on the instructional side? Oh, no, you know, they kind of do a little tech support too. Oh, okay. I think most people were fractions.
Yeah, most people were, yeah.
They didn't have one dedicated.
Or they had a dedicated person as like a director of technology, then their other staffing was piecemeal.
Well, most of my directors of technology
Have
would
other
not
roles.
allow themselves to be full-time tech.
Right.
They insisted that a piece of them went to instruction.
So here's a question. In the last meeting, we had talked about building into this a place for districts to say, this is something that we've been doing for a long time. We think it's going really well. We'd be willing to share.
I put it in the end.
Yep. Survey
Is there a way that we could do something like that for the FTE? Because people are looking for how do other people get
Problem solved,
enough people to support these initiatives? What are you putting a teacher on special assignment? Are you, hiring another part-time art teacher who could also do technology integration? Like, what are you doing that maybe I could follow that model in my district? If I can't afford a full-time person, is there a way that we could also, because I love that idea about sharing, and I think this is one of the areas that we saw a lot of differences across the state.
About the staffing.
Yeah, the staffing question.
Talking to a librarian from Schenectady at the Future Ready conference, and there's not enough LMSs out there. I mean, we know that. And so they redefined the position to basically get one of their sixth grade ELA teachers to fit that. But the gentleman also had a great tech background. And I was like, oh, can I get the job description how you did that?
Yeah.
I'm going, that's awesome. How you made it fit what you needed to do like that. That's a great idea.
Absolutely. So that may
Put
be
that in the last.
Well, I wrote building adequate staffing in support of, but I don't like the way I worded it, but, and this list is too long. I think it needs to be consolidated, but.
So this guy you're looking at?
So this is at the end where it says,
Under
I had it
section
under
6.
survey feedback.
Right.
It's at the end. It says, I said in the process of linking communities of practice across New York State, please check the box below and include, it meant to say, check the box below if you are interested in sharing your story and include primary contact. And then there's contact information and topics of strength. I wrote evaluation and research based. Check only those boxes that you've been doing for more than 2 years and have research documenting success on a building or district scale. Because I don't think we're interested in prototypes here or pilots. We're interested in sort of what you're doing, Richard, at your with your personalized learning. Like some elementary principals will want to see what Richard's doing in these elementary schools.
Yeah.
At the point, I don't think we're doing anything that's different than what we should be doing, but, Darlene, going to go up to the North Country and they ask, hey, can you talk to administrators about what you guys are doing? So you need to see, sure. But having a section, tell us a story. That makes sense. Let them brag a little bit about what they think is working well. Maybe that's easy enough to start sharing some of those stories in the future, and that becomes part of the website.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's where I was going with the linking. Like you're not developing anything. You just want to link people.
Right now, and we're trying to figure out what that looks like. There may be some possibilities that we could get some help in that building something, but that's very preliminary.
Yeah.
We know that there's a need, and this is a good first step. So we can at least, if anybody, I don't know if this is the place to say, I'm interested in this or this. I don't know. I think we have to think about it.
Yeah, I think doing this in this section is good because it's more than just about the survey feedback. They have a reason to want to do this section.
Right.
You know?
Well, that's where,
So we should-
nobody cares about
rename
feedback. They don't
rename it
care.
and then call it something else.
Right.
Yeah, it
Don't call
probably
it
should
survey
be called
feedback.
something else. It's sort of like community.
Collaboration space or
Yeah,
community,
community engagement or
or, yeah,
something, not community engagement.
something else. Yeah.
It probably does.
Sharing something else.
And Karen. No.
Yeah, yeah.
So I was supposed to say Sesame Street the other day.
Oh, gosh.
The sharing section. Share was nice. but I
Okay,
talked with
so
you.
that's good. Back up to policies
All right.
Oh, yeah.
Under policy.
in section
That's
4.
a tiny
Check
little
it with
thing, isn't
20
it?
minutes.
It is. So AUP, cyberbullying, that doesn't really need to change much from the last one, does it?
Well, we took out the
Cybersecurity question.
That was the only thing I was going to ask.
And then now that's a big deal.
It is, but districts aren't quite there yet. Like we have districts who are coming into service to build those plans.
Uh-huh.
But how, do you want this information?
what?
So everyone's gonna check it, that they have it. So
They didn't before.
didn't before.
And that
They
was the
didn't?
problem, is we
No.
found out that not everybody was fine.
They questioned
that
what it meant,
created-
what is it, we
So
don't.
that created
Became a
Well,
legal
that-
thing
yeah.
because if they're not typical
Yeah,
compliance,
the-
then
And then they linked it to
Makes
Ed
you-
Law 2D, and we don't have guidance about Ed Law 2D yet. Oh, it was huge. It was.
They were really worried about it. That's why some of
Yes.
them refused.
Well, we had districts really worried about it, but most of them could find it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Most of them in our districts could too, in
They
our
found it in
region,
their board
but it wasn't
minutes.
our region that,
Well, they
Was-
found them in their board minutes, almost all
Right.
of them.
but it wasn't in our region that, or yours currently, that happened.
Yes.
But it was in others.
Yeah. But a lot of people said, well, you haven't given us our guidance from Ed Law 2D yet, so how can we have a cybersecurity
Right.
policy? That
But in AUP and the Parents' Bill of Rights.
that was not a problem.
Right. There were a couple of problems there too, though. There were problems there with AUP.
The parent bill, like
What's that?
AUP, the parent bill of
Even
rights
with
was
some
a problem.
AUP, there was an issue with dates and,
Oh, dates, yeah.
yeah, they couldn't
Something
find-
about SIPA changes and
Mm-hmm.
changed in 2012.
It was
They
like
just made
this,
a change to COPA.
yeah.
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 The name change?
So my question
No,
is,
they-
do you want this? That's why I was.
Do we even need it?
Let's do it. Do you need
Maybe
that?
it's in the guidance system.
I will get back to you.
It seems a little ironic that the state ed wouldn't need the policy section.
That's what I think. But
I'll
Yeah.
check with our CPO.
And then if they do need the section, what do they want?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right.
Good idea.
We need a meeting with Tope.
and then the hardware software inventory we had.
It's very clearly fit.
Right. Yeah, that was the whole point, get all that stuff out of there. Also, the connection speeds and all that
Mhm.
stuff would go into beds. We also wanted to add into beds, Shannon, I think we've talked about it, maybe not at this group, online and personalized, online learning questions.
So we already have them.
But we might want to look.
No,
Yeah,
we
but they
have
need to be
so many
revised. Be
problems
updated.
with that.
We're
So
gonna
you need that?
Well, we're gonna revise them. That's another thing we're gonna come to you guys to help
Yes.
do. The problem with revising them is that we lose longitudinal data.
Yeah.
Right, exactly. Which is why we haven't touched them in the
We
past.
haven't touched them in a while.
But they're
the results
old.
are really interesting. And some of the questions that I didn't think anybody would say yes to, they said yes to last year. So that is going to be important to look at the data to see what we.
Well, you,
What's the surprising question people said
think, video correspondence courses.
They might read that as video conference.
That's what I think.
Yeah.
Amy, what do you think? Do you think that anybody would read a video correspondence course, which to me is getting a videotape and watching a videotape and then returning versus video conferencing? Is that something that people could confuse?
I would hope not.
Amy, what if you were 28?
What if you were 28?
And you heard that term.
What if
wouldn't
you were
even know
28 and you never knew what a correspondence course was?
And you saw the word video.
I mean, not that there are people that are 28. Well, that could be 28, 32. Do you know what a correspondence course is?
There you go.
We didn't know Dewey Brothers were either.
That's right. He didn't know Dewey Brothers either, or Chicago. So.
Okay. There you go.
All right. So yeah, we'll add that to the ever-growing list of things we need to revise.
Online learning, yes. But don't you get? I mean, you get asked that question by upper management. Questions about online learning.
How prevalent is it across the state?
Right.
What are we doing?
So the problem we have with this is, you know this, because you're working with the Distance Learning Consortium. This is so loosely defined, it's meaningless. So you're not actually getting
the word.
Yes.
The word online learning is loosely defined.
Yes.
Yes. No, so we lose longitudinal data, but how good is that data?
Anyway.
Is a very important question.
Right.
And because that's the problem we have is how this is interpreted at the building level, and so, Amy, you know this, it's so broad, and it's deeply embedded in each person's personal experience, and professional experience. And so it has to be really clearly defined what you're talking about. And what we did in the survey that we did in 2007 or whatever year that was, we actually defined percentage of time online.
It had to be a certain
because everything's online. So when everything's online, nothing's online. You know, sort of that idea. So if you really want to know if students are taking online courses for credit, you want to define the percentage of time they're spending online interacting with content and professors.
Yes.
So we use 60-40. Amy, you remember this conversation we had?
Yeah.
40 or was it 80-20?
I think it was 60-40.
40 when we were in the Distance Learning Consortium, and that if 60% of your time is spent online and 40% is direct instruction, then it's considered a true online course. If that ratio is reversed, then it doesn't fit the category.
And then what is it called? Blended?
It's called teaching.
So
yes, blended.
We got online, blended, and distance learning.
So I would say it's called
and distance learning,
wasn't it? I'm sorry, that was so snarky. I'm sorry, Mary.
It went over my head.
That wasn't directed at you.
No, I'm not even.
Yeah, so it would be blended. I think that's fair to say.
And then distance learning is
anything that happens over a distance. It's both.
And oh no! And Amy, you can laugh about this. So one of the meetings when I was addressing the Distance Learning Consortium, and they made very clear that distance learning is different than online learning. And anytime I mention online learning,
synchronous video.
It's synchronous and it's over the video conference.
Yeah. So from their perspective, that's true, but nobody has that definition but the people involved in that teaching.
True.
So if you ask a assistant superintendent of curriculum in any of my schools what distance learning is, they don't know that. So I agree with them, but nobody knows
You have
that.
to define these terms as you.
So,
right.
So
if they're going to be embedded, they need to be
that is
clearly
the true
defined.
definition of distance learning because that was the genesis for the group.
Absolutely.
But I think it's like everything. It's gotten watered down over time.
New people come in who have no experience.
Excuse me, can I interrupt?
Yes.
Down to section 4.
Oh, reality check, girl.
There's so much to tackle, Maria.
I know.
You're making it
And
finish
I'm
one task.
Section
because-
4?
Done with section 4 because the next action
I'm
is.
sorry, section 5.
What
Gee,
section?
you can't even get that.
Section 5.
Look at my
Roman
notes.
numerals are messing you up now,
I
huh?
know.
Oh.
So staff plan, financial plan, policies Jan's checking on, hardware, software, inventory, and a link to the district
Yep,
technology.
love it.
technology plan.
That's
Yeah,
good.
perfect.
Very good, Maria.
Good. Okay.
The
So
work
it
order.
really was 5 sections.
It is, and then the
Well-
last one is just the feedback, sharing, communities of practice.
And you don't have
But
to call
that's
it a
fine.
section if you want to stick to 5. You can just
Right.
call it appendix. Call it anything you want, or just live with 6.
Or appendage.
And the
Appendage. Yeah.
And this is shorter than the old one.
It is. There are many less questions.
There are.
Well, and
It's going to require more thought.
it is going to
Oh, that's
require.
good.
Right, it's going to be more difficult.
It is going to be.
Well, I think we should, if we have an opportunity, I think we should try to do it. I think we should do a dress rehearsal and actually write a goal. I think we should try one.
Okay.
Is that our homework for this
You're
between
crazy.
now and the 15th?
I like that.
Well, you know, for
Yeah, true.
work.
All right.
Do you want to
That's why the plain water don't.
change it to something else?
Do we want to what?
Oh, you can't pull this around.
What's the question?
Oh, it is only this?
Yeah.
Yeah, it is only this.
It's only
Speak
public.
English. You're like, what's an LEA? No, everybody knows.
Everybody knows it now.
I hope they are
I'm kidding.
filling this
I
out.
hope-
Just kidding.
Okay. That works.
So when do we want to practice this, like you were saying? Is that like a homework
Well,
assignment?
I think that would be a good homework. Just take one.
Yeah,
Yep.
everybody take
Especially the
one
goal
goal
thing.
Mm-hmm.
and work
Just
through
see
the
if we can
process.
work through the process and see if it works based on your work.
I like that.
I know a colleague want to try this out.
That would be great.
Yeah, that would be really
We
good.
will check with special ed, bilingual world languages, and our CPO to get the other sections kind of ironed out as to what they would want to see on those. And
And
the
everybody,
next meeting, we can focus on
Bed.
guidance.
and what about
Guidance.
Bed's question?
And I think,
That's
like,
We can wait.
C,
We can
Yeah.
wait, yeah.
We can
well,
wait
and
on
it's
that.
kind of obvious. Like, the only one that I'm, like, it's all of section C.
I'm not sure what,
For beds, but at any rate,
Mm-hmm.
well,
we can do that.
we've got time because the deadline for
easier.
those isn't till next spring.
Oh, okay.
Because the Bed's questions for this October are already done. We
Right.
can't get into this October. It'll be
Oh,
next
they got,
year.
they got
And then,
Yeah. So we have, I think
Well,
it's
actually, that's
April
good timing.
2018 is when we need to finalize
Yeah.
to get it in
Oh.
with that. We'll have to start the
That's all.
conversations, you know,
write that down
at
somewhere.
some point, but
Okay,
that's all they need to know.
great.
But if we
Okay.
want to revise online learning, it's good.
Yeah, we definitely,
Right, so I think what we have to do also is go through the original survey and just make sure that we didn't leave anything off, and that's where that online learning conversation will come up.
Yes.
So we'll do a
you mean to put,
inventory of the old survey to make sure we didn't lose anything in our new one,
Mhm.
and that's where we're going to end up addressing the online learning thing. And we can do the bed.
well, Beds we're not going to talk about next time.
Okay, we'll do, yeah.
We're going to do the guidance.
Yep.
And you
Yes.
said inventory of the old survey questions to make sure we didn't leave anything out of
Yes.
this. That needs to be there.
Yep.
That really needs to be
Yep.
there.
And our next meeting is the 15th, correct?
That's right, yep. And
I will
then,
not be able to be here.
is that Amy?
Yes. Not that you guys probably are that upset, because I
Well, you
haven't
can still
read.
do your homework, though. You know, we'll accept it electronically.
Okay.
Maria, could you just share that with me as well so I could do the homework?
Yes, we all will need that
Do you
document.
have your,
It would just be freese@e1b.org. Thank you.
and I will pull it down and send it to you.
And I believe in the current year's survey, there is nothing about online learning. We didn't have anything in current survey.
You know, when you
No.
put questions in there about online learning, there's a big assumption that someone's looking at the regulation.
Yeah.
I guess you know that.
We,
So anyway,
So that's
Yeah.
just part.
you mean?
we have other apps. We added that course delivery method in IMA, so that'll be one way.
Oh, there is? Okay.
I added that for this year. You know, too much.
That's for every single class, for every single, okay. So they can pull data from there. Okay. So then maybe we don't need to worry about
Yeah,
online learning in this survey?
not in this survey.
Wait for beds
Yeah,
for next year, because it's in beds now.
it is. Just in a,
We're, yeah. All right, so we have so for next time, we're going to talk about the guidance, and we're going to go over the homework and see how that worked. And Shannon and our office will talk to special ed, bilingual world languages, and CTO to see what they want in here. And now my understanding is,
CPO, Chief Product.
CTO, I'm sorry, not
okay.
CTO.
That's right.
And my understanding is the guidance, now is the guidance going to be guidance on what's in the survey or strictly guidance about a comprehensive technology plan or?
Good question.
I think it's going to be guidance about, it should be guidance about what's in the survey with perhaps a comprehensive technology planning lens, like a section of it about best practice.
Have a section for best practices for
But you're
comprehensive
going to have guidance for these questions.
because they're new, different.
Do you have to separate them, or can they be integrated?
I think they could be
Because
integrated,
it
but
could be the guidance, here's the guidance for question 1, best practice.
yes, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
All right, so that's what we want to be
So
thinking
that-
about between now and then.
Separated, everyone has to go back and forth.
Right.
You don't want to
Can't
back and
separate
forth.
it,
Yeah.
but it needs to be identified somehow in there that best practice. It's just best practice. So this is what's required as far as the guidance.
Is there a possibility that we could develop a template of a copy?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean,
Easily.
we're doing it
Easily,
right
we
now.
have a million.
Yeah. Okay.
But what we want to do is do it based on the survey,
Right.
right? So
Right.
that's so easy to do.
Because they'll say,
That's what
well, if
they
this
want.
isn't a comprehensive technology
Yeah.
plan, what is?
Yep, and that's where you add the executive
Mhm.
summary part, and that usually the superintendent would write your executive summary,
Mm-hmm.
and then that's where you put
There are a lot of
all
things
the,
we would take this and just add to it.
yeah,
Expand it.
exactly.
That's exactly what we would do.
Exactly what we'll do. We'll just do a save as.
Now, is that something we want to have to review at the next meeting or to discuss at the next?
I think we focus on the guidance next meeting.
Yeah.
That's gonna take all.
Okay.
I think the
And
guidance
then from
will
there,
take
we'll
all
look
our
at
time, and doing
template.
this
Yeah.
is relatively easy.
Yep.
Okay,
We can
then we'll look at the template
Yep.
beyond the 15.
Yeah.
Yep.
Now, are we going to need additional meetings before, because our deadline we're shooting for is mid-September.
Mhm.
Should we be scheduling additional meetings of the group at this point, or what's the thought?
I would think we do.
Yeah,
I mean, do we only have the one on the 15th?
the 15th, that's it,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think we're gonna need at least one more.
I think
Yeah, I
we
would
should
believe so.
The guidance is gonna be pretty intensive.
We're running into the beginning of
School, right.
So, Rich, we know that you may be required to be in district.
Well, it's good as now, so,
Okay, well, that's good.
All
we'll
right,
keep rolling with it. And,
All right.
I mean, if I'm waiting till the last week or two before school starts to get things planned and done, we're in a,
that means you're not doing your job, or what?
Yeah.
Kind of.
I have a deli is or not on there.
Or both.
Okay.
All right.
You have any suggestions for dates?
So I just went out 2 weeks, which takes us to the week of the 28th.
No, yeah, that's the week before school starts.
That Monday works for me.
I can't do Monday. I can only do Tuesday, Thursday, or Friday.
August 27th. I'm out Friday. I could do Thursday.
Thursday, 31st.
Uh-huh.
That's open for me as of now.
You, Sarah?
Yep.
Amy, Liz, could you do the 31st of August?
Yes, I am available.
So we'll do it like this, 1 to 4?
Yeah.
All right.
1 to 4 works better than 12 to 3 for me.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Don't worry.
Those darn upper